Good evening, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. First up, Warren makes presidential bid official with call for change. Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren made her bid for the presidency official on Saturday in this working class city, grounding her 2020 campaign in a populist call to fight economy inequality and build an American that works for everyone. Warren delivered a sharp call for change at her presidential kickoff, decrying a middle class squeeze that has left Americans crunched with too little accountability for the rich, too little opportunity for everyone else. She and her backers hope that message can distinguish her in a crowded Democratic field and help her move past the controversy surrounding her past claims to Native American heritage. Waiving specific policy prescriptions into her remarks for Medicare for all to the elimination of Washington lobbying as we know it. Warren avoided taking direct jabs at President Donald Trump. She aimed for a border institutional shift, instead urging supporters to choose a government that makes different choices that reflect our values. Warren announced her campaign in her home state of Massachusetts at a mill site where largely immigrant factory workers went on strike about 100 years ago, a fitting form for a longtime consumer advocate to advance her platform. She was scheduled to travel later in the day to New Hampshire, home to the nation's first primary, where Warren could have an advantage as a neighboring state resident with high name recognition. She intended to spend Sunday in Iowa, where the leadoff caucus will be the first test of the candidacy's valuable. Warren was the first high profile Democrat to single interest in running for the White House, forming an exploratory committee on New Year's Eve. She was introduced Saturday by Rep. Joe Kennedy III of Massachusetts, who has endorsed her in the primary. The backing could prove vulnerable for Warren, given his status as a rising young Democratic star and his friendship with one of her potential 2020 rivals, former Rep. Beto O'Rourke, Democrat of Texas. Warren enters the race as one of the party's most recognizable figures. She has spent the past decades in the nation's spotlight, first emerging as a consumer activist during the financial crisis. She later led congressional panel that oversaw the 2008 financial industry bailout after Republicans blocked her from running the Consumer Fiscal Protection Bureau, an agency she helped create. She ran for the Senate in 2012 and unseated a GOP incumbent. She has 11 million left from her campaign 2018 Senate re-election victory that can be used on her presidential run. Still, Warren must compete against other popular Democrats who will be able to raise substantial money. A recent CNN poll found that fewer Democrats said they'd be very happy to support Warren if she runs, and then said the same of former Vice President Joe Biden or Senator Kamala Harris of California and Bernie Sanders of Vermont. Still, about as many Democrats said they'd be at least somewhat likely to support Warren as said the same of Harris and Sanders. That challenge is on display this weekend as Democratic presidential contenders, or those considered a run, fan out across the crucial early voting states. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker is in Ohio, while New York Senator Christina Gillibrand is visiting South Carolina. Other possible presidential rival, Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown, planned to be in New Hampshire on Saturday. And Warren's launch comes at a challenging moment for the 69-year-old senator. She apologized twice over the past 2 weeks for claiming Native American identity on multiple occasions earlier in her career. That claim has created foible for Republicans and could overshadow her campaign. Their campaign launch will test whether the controversy is simply a Washington obsession or a substantive threat to her candidacy. Doug Rubin, a Boston-based strategist who advanced Warren during her first Senate run in 2012, said in an interview, "The most voters will respond to powerful messages she's been talking about in terms of battling social and economic injustice rather than the back and forth over her personal identity." Another threat could come from a fellow senator who has yet to announce his own plans in 2020, Sanders. They both leaders of Democrat liberal Vargado, but some Sanders supporters are still upset she didn't support him during the 2016 primary run against Hillary Clinton. And as a senator from Vermont who won the New Hampshire primary, he would likely go into the Granite State as an early favorite if he decided to run again. Despite their similarities, Warren and Sanders have taken somewhat diverse paths in recent months as they prepare for the primary, after proposing ultra-millionaire tax that would hit the wealthiest 75,000 households in America. Warren told Bloomberg News last week that she continues to believe in capitalism, but wants to see her stance rules to prevent gaming the system, a marked contrast with herself described as democratic socialism of Sanders. And we'll have to see. as this whole presidential campaign season rolls out. Family of Maura Murray hopeful that answers will come 15 years after disappearance. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Amy Cavino.
Instead of shoveling snow this season, get your own Kubota BX tractor with your choice of snow.
Route 112, Woodsville, or Haverhill, depending who you ask. The sharp bend in the road is where this mystery started to unfold February 9th, 2004.
Over the course of the past 15 years, it's always been kind of a, obviously an emotional roller coaster.
The blue ribbon has been replaced over the years, marking the spot where the black Saturn crashed into a snowbank. The first call to police, 7:27 p.m. A local school bus driver told police he saw a woman standing outside the car.
She said she was shaken up. I couldn't see any blood on her face. And she was shaking like this. I says, okay, I'm going to go call the police.
An officer arrived 19 minutes later, finding the car locked and no one around.
In 2004, when Maura went missing, that was before Facebook.
Social media has brought a resurgence to the case, renewed interest including podcasts and a television series. But
there's also a downside to that where people just throw out wild speculation and especially with my sister's case, there's so many rabbit holes that you can go down.
Interest in the Maura Murray case spans the globe. Film crews and amateur sleuths have strained the goodwill and patience of residents here over 15 years, many of whom have plenty to say off camera, but vehemently declined going on the record. The posted no trespassing signs are a recent addition to the landscape here. The new owners bought the land 5 years ago and tell News 9 they're fed up with strangers traipsing through their property, leaving trash and not asking permission. A film crew crashed a drone on their porch. But the Murrays are resolute and just recently got a new lead.
There were cadaver dogs that got positive hits in a basement in the area around the crash scene. And also there was a ground-penetrating radar report to corroborate that.
The previous owners of the house, which is very close to the crash scene, denied access to Maura's family for years. But when the house changed ownership last year, Maura's family saw an opportunity and asked.
And he is stubborn and more motivated than ever. And, this is his baby that went missing. He will never give up that fight. He's retired now, and this is the focus of his life.
The family is now very optimistic about this new information that has now been turned over to investigators.
Somebody has to act on that. It's important.
The family plans to return to the crash scene February 9th for a vigil for Maura and says Facebook Live allows supporters around the world to participate.
We at least want to be up there to honor Maura's memory and be present.
Amy Cavino, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. View updated New Hampshire power outage map. As you know, today was a windy day here in New Hampshire. Here are a look at each map from each elective services. Let's take a look real quick. Eversource map is right here. And 0 outages, it looks like, on their map. Looks like their map is not coming in. That was electric co-op, utility, Unitil. Shows Seacoast outage here, just in the Seacoast area. And Liberty Utilities. It looks like a couple along here and down here. And those are the maps from each of the utility companies here in New Hampshire. If your home or business lose power, you can watch the Riley King Network on the internet through Facebook Live. Or you can go to YouTube to see other newscasts of us. New Hampshire Lottery considered legal action after U.S. Justice Department questions online sales. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Gene Mackin.
We started selling on the internet, scratch tickets and Powerball and Mega Millions. And it's been a very successful program.
The lottery says it's like a jackpot. Revenue for online sales could reach $6 million next fiscal year as lottery players consider giving it a try.
I think I would. I usually just buy one ticket for, when they get up there.
I saw it, but I didn't sign up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, they should expand it to online sports betting too. Yeah.
You're all in.
I'm all in. Yeah, well, I'm buying tickets, right?
But the U.S. Justice Department isn't all in, reversing its 2011 opinion, which said only interstate sports betting is a violation of the Federal Wire Act. A federal appeals court in Boston agreed in 2014. Fast forward to a new administration and a new way of looking at the law.
We spent a lot of time and energy doing the right thing, doing it the right way that had been set out years prior. And then have this thing happen out of the blue is remarkable in a negative way.
Several state lotteries are asking the acting attorney general to overrule the opinion and urging the federal government not to take any action, instead allowing states to govern their own lotteries.
While this is debated, online lottery sales are a go in New Hampshire. Gene Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Windham officer struck by vehicle while directing traffic, police say. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9.
Windham police officer is recovering tonight after he was hit by a car while on duty. Windham police say Officer Chris Van Hertum was directing traffic during a power outage on Route 111 when a car making a turn hit him from behind. The outage impacted multiple major intersections during the evening commute after a tree fell around 4 p.m. Police say that driver did stop and is cooperating.
We accept it as part of the job, but no one wants to see it. He was just out here trying to keep the roads open, and unfortunately the accident did occur.
Officer Van Hertum was hospitalized but was conscious and alert. At this point, we don't know the extent of his injury.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. military continues with Syria withdrawal plan. The U.S. military is proceeding with its 120-day plan to pull all U.S. troops and equipment out of Syria by the end of April, although so far only equipment and supplies have been removed. However, U.S. officials say the White House will have to tell the military within a matter of weeks whether to proceed with the actual removal of troops. And that did it for the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. Good night, everyone. Bye.